for us, how Canada has dealt with the Khalistani issue has been a long-standing concern, because very frankly, they seem to be driven by vote bank politics, and their responses have all been, to the best of my understanding, actually constrained by what they regard as vote bank compulsions on them. We made it very clear, and I've done so sometimes even in public, which is that if there are activities which are permitted from Canada, which impinge on our sovereignty, territorial integrity, on our security, then we will have to respond. So it is something which is I would say, a continuing conversation with Canada, not always a satisfactory conversation, but it is something on which we have been very, very clear. And you can see that in many ways over the last few years it has impacted our ties. You have seen in any democracy there will be arguments, there will be differences, there will be diversity, there will be opinion, or hona bhi chahiye. There is nothing wrong with it. The problem happens when you take it out, okay? That is, it is like ghar ke andar koi problem ho, you do not want to take it out to the street. That is one problem. What is a bigger problem is when you take it out and then you invite people from out, saying, please come and actually take part and interfere in what is happening out here. So our invitation bhi there on, saying, what is happening in India is of great global concern, so please aaiye, and you also have your part in it. That I don't think is good for the country. I think people can have views, they can have opinions. I have no issues if I go out, I will also tell people, bhai pehle aisa tha, ab ye change aaya hai, India has progressed. There is nothing wrong with that. You can even have a view that, acha, is progress mein ye kamiyan hai, that's also okay. But if you say that in India there are big problems, it is of great concern to the world must do something about it, you are now saying something very, very different, which has very big implications.
Rahul Gandhi didn't get convinced by you. In fact, he said that, I think I don't know the exact words, but I think he said that you did not know much about foreign policy matters. You needed to learn a little more.
Well, let me put it to you more accurately. This wasn't at a parliamentary committee. In parliamentary committees, we have interacted, but usually what happens in parliamentary committee, I try to keep to myself, so I will not get into it with you either. This, I think, was something he said at some kind of public meeting somewhere.
That you don't know much about.
I think look, I cannot vouch for the exact words either, but I think it was probably in the context of China, if I remember right.
Yeah, he's not convinced about China.
Yeah, but he
thinks that you are opaque about it.
I don't know whether it's opaque or whether, there was a sort of a level of knowledge, understanding. All I can say in my defense is I have been the longest serving ambassador in China. I have been dealing with a lot of these border issues for a very, very long time. I would say, let me put it to you this way, I'm not suggesting I'm necessarily the most knowledgeable person, but I would have a fairly good self-opinion of my understanding of what is out there. What was said at the Munich conference, essentially Mr. Soros said India is a democratic country, but he doesn't think the Prime Minister of India is a Democrat. By the way, a few years ago, in the same conference, I was there at that time, he actually accused us of planning to strip millions of Muslims of their citizenship, which of course didn't happen. It was a ridiculous suggestion. But you have to understand what this actually means. I could take a view that the individual in question, Mr. Soros, is a old, rich, opinionated person sitting in New York
who still thinks that his views should determine how the entire world works. Now, if I could only stop at old, rich and opinionated, I would put it away. But he is old, rich, opinionated and dangerous, because what happens is when such people and such views and such organizations, they actually invest resources in shaping narratives.
So obviously Mr. Borrell is not here today, not here now, but he was in the meeting, and he told the Financial Times before the meeting that the EU should be putting sanctions on refined oil products from India using Russian oil. I just wondered what the response of the minister was. Thanks.
Well, you're right. Mr. Borrell is not with us now, but I really don't see the basis for your question because my understanding of the Council regulations is that if Russian crude is substantially transformed in a third country, then it's not treated as Russian anymore. I would urge you to look at Council Regulation 833/2014.
You usually face a lot of critical questions in international forums by international journalists. What is your real feeling, sir, when you face such questions? Because when we see the videos and, we have literally get goosebumps, right? So the way you answer, it is on dot. Like it is, no beating around the bush. It is literally on dot. If you want to understand, you understand. If you don't understand, it is your problem.
It's a little bit like she's asking, how do you handle a press conference abroad? How do you give immediate answers? So it's a little, there's a lot of, I would say, instinct and practice.